There may, in fact, be more Joe Biden songs out there, but we haven't found any so far. And it's hard to say if that's a good or bad thing for the Delaware senator.
You can find links to some of those YouTube videos, including the songs Obama Llama and Sarah Barracuda, at nprmusic.org.
And you're listening to All Things Considered from NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations and from American Jewish World Service, partnering with a global community of activists for human rights, dignity, and social justice at ajws.org. From the Ford Foundation, a resource for innovative people and institutions worldwide, on the web at fordfound.org. And from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, helping NPR advance journalistic excellence in the digital age. This is NPR, National Public Radio.
And this is WOSU in Columbus. Partly cloudy skies at 61 degrees.
Support for WOSU comes from Marburn Academy, a forward-thinking school for ADHD and or dyslexic students, offering a 1st through 8th grade curriculum, plus a college prep high school. Information about their upcoming open house at marburnacademy.org.
This is listener-supported WOSU 89.7, WOSU HD1, and WOSU 820 Columbus, WOSB 91.1 Marion, WOSE 91.1 Coshocton, WOSP 91.5 Portsmouth, and WOSV 91.7 Mansfield. Streaming on the web at WOSU.org. WOSU, NPR News and Classical Music. Coming up in local news, the Ohio Supreme Court has dismissed one of 2 cases involving disputed absentee ballot applications from the McCain campaign.
Now is our time to work, not as Democrats, not as Republicans, but as guardians of the public trust to forge a better day ahead.
The Senate adds on sweeteners, including tax breaks, to get a financial bailout bill passed.
For Wednesday, October 1st, this is All Things Considered.
The Senate votes first on the revised bill tonight, but are there enough changes to get it through the House?
We'll put that question to the man in charge of rounding up the votes, House Minority Whip Roy Blunt.
Also, John McCain used to enjoy a cozy relationship with the media.
Now he accuses reporters of gotcha journalism and worse.
I think most of us take it with heavy dose of salt. I doubt even the people in the McCain campaign making those charges fully believe their own rhetoric or the implications of their rhetoric.
And Chicago and Los Angeles are both giddy with baseball dreams. Each city has 2 teams in the playoffs.
Now, the news.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Spear. President Bush expressed confidence today that a controversial $700 billion financial rescue plan will clear the Senate tonight and make its way to the House later this week for that body's approval. The president speaking at the White House said he thinks there are enough modifications to the legislation at this point that it will be palatable to all sides.
The Senate's going to take this bill up tonight, hopefully it'll pass, and then the House will have a chance to vote on it Friday morning. To say the bill's different, it's been improved. We're not confident it'll pass.
Among the so-called sweeteners that have been added to the legislation, providing additional FDIC protection for bank accounts, raising the limit to $250,000 from the current $100,000. The revised measure will also extend some popular tax breaks for middle-class tax filers. House lawmakers on Monday shot down the initial version of the bill. Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama says lawmakers may not like having to rescue the financial services industry, but he says the time to act is now. Radio Steve Wilson reports on Obama's rally in Carson, Wisconsin.
For a crowd of thousands in riverside cities downtown, the Illinois Democrat said it's time to pass the latest version of the financial bailout plan. Obama says there's too much at stake to do nothing. He says those responsible will be punished later.
If your neighbor's house is burned, or you might welcome that you're always smoking in bed or leaving the stove on, the first thing you want to do is make sure the fire's out so it doesn't spread to your house.
Obama says if he's elected president, the size of the rescue plan and the weakening economy may mean he'll have to scale back some of the programs and policies he proposed on the campaign trail, but not the essentials. This is like helping Americans keep up with rising costs and shrinking pay I'm Steve Rice of Blue Cross, Wisconsin.
A grim prognosis for Afghanistan was offered today by the top American general there. NPR's J.J. Sutherland reports from the Pentagon.
The fighting in Afghanistan has only gotten worse, says General David McTiernan. More U.S. troops killed, more foreign fighters coming in from Pakistan, more violence, especially in the southeast of the country. The general says he needs more troops as quickly as possible to fight the resurgent Taliban, and he warns there are no easy fixes, speaking in terms of years for the Afghan government and army to be able to control the country. He said 30 years of near constant warfare has taken a huge toll on the ability of the country to govern itself on many levels.
If you recall, Afghanistan is a mystic civil war. And that potential is still there.
One additional brigade of American combat troops is headed to Afghanistan this winter, and General McTiernan has requested 3 more. J.J. Sutherland, NPR News, Mexico.
In Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 19 points. The S&P 500 was down 3 points. This is NPR.
Support for NPR comes from the Wallace Foundation, whose Knowledge Center is where education leaders can go to learn about improving teaching and learning. Downloads at wallacefoundation.org.
It's 4 minutes past 5 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Christina Morgan. The Ohio Supreme Court today dismissed one of 2 cases involving disputed absentee ballot applications mailed by the John McCain campaign. The court said today an attorney representing 2 Franklin County voters failed to turn in a required court brief that was due on Monday. Airport officials are scrambling to cut costs as passenger and cargo traffic mark another month of double-digit declines. Airport Vice President David Whitaker says revenues are also down. A wage freeze is now in place, and anyone who leaves or retires is not being replaced. Whitaker says Port Columbus has operated for years with a budget surplus. Not so Rickenbacker.
Rickenbacker hasn't operated at a surplus since it was privatized in the early 1980s, and so it's a very large airport with a lot of overhead costs and a limited revenue stream, far less flight activity at Rickenbacker than at Port Columbus, obviously, and so it's been tough to make a buck there for a while.
And Rickenbacker and Port Columbus employ nearly 400 people. The director of Project Vote says legal wrangling over early voting has had a negative effect on get-out-the-vote efforts in Ohio, but now that courts have given the same-day registration process a green light, Michael Slater says his group will immediately focus on getting voting information to African-American voters in Ohio's 3 largest counties.
And we expect that at least in Tioga County, Franklin County, Hamilton County, we will be starting a Get Out the Vote program, contacting unregistered Ohioans of color, encouraging them to go register and cast a ballot starting Thursday and going Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Ohioans have until October 6th to register to vote and vote on the same day. In sports, number 14 Ohio State is preparing for Saturday's game in Madison against number 18 Wisconsin. Partly sunny skies in Columbus at 61 degrees, a slight chance of rain tonight, a low of 46, and partly sunny, continued cool tomorrow, a high of 62. I'm Christina Morgan, WOSU News.
From NPR News, this is All Things Considered. I'm Melissa Lott.
And I'm Robert Siegel. First this hour, senators are trying to jumpstart the economic bailout. They'll be casting what many of them have dubbed a legacy vote tonight. Throughout the day, they debated the $700 billion plan. Many said they don't love the legislation, but they said it needs to pass. After the House of Representatives rejected the package on Monday, senators revised the bill somewhat, but the basic premise remains. The bill allows the U.S. Treasury to buy up bad debt in hopes of easing the credit market. NPR's Debbie Elliott reports from Capitol Hill.
So what's changed since Monday night? Many senators say it's the message from back home. Last week there was a public outcry against taxpayers bailing out the fat cats on Wall Street. Today, Republican John Kyle says there's a growing realization that the economic crisis is hitting closer to home.
The realization that came about when they saw about 10% of their stock holdings wiped out with one day of trading on Wall Street.
Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says this is not a bailout for Lower Manhattan, but is aimed at helping local